Welcome to this explainer. You know those wildly powerful AI chatbots everyone's using right now? Well, they all trace back to one single monumental 2017 Google paper. Today, we're breaking down Attention is All You Need and looking at exactly how it flipped the AI world completely upside down and revolutionized machine translation forever. Let's start with a really provocative what if. What if an AI didn't have to read a sentence the way you and I do? Scanning one single word at a time, left to right? What if it could just zoom out and process everything everywhere all at once? That's the core idea here. And trust me, it changes literally everything.
Section 1. The sequential bottleneck.
To really appreciate this massive leap forward, we first need to look at the older, state-of-the-art models, which were called recurrent neural networks, or RNNs. These older models read text like they were looking through a tiny moving peephole. They process one word, update their internal state, and then painfully move to the next. The new transformer method, though, it's like a flash of lightning. It takes in the entire sentence simultaneously. The fatal flaw with that old sequential method is right there in its step-by-step nature. When you force a computer to read word T, generate a hidden state, and only then read word T+1, two bad things happen. First, the AI physically starts forgetting earlier parts of the sentence over long distances. And second, modern GPUs absolutely hate this because step 2 is just sitting there waiting in line for step 1 to finish. It's incredibly inefficient. Section 2. The self-attention paradigm. So here is the researchers' massive aha moment. They decided to abandon that step-by-step recurrence completely. Instead, they introduced something called self-attention. Simply put, self-attention lets the model draw direct mathematical lines of dependency between words, no matter how far apart they are in the sentence. So the words bank and river instantly connect in the AI's mind, completely ignoring all the clutter in between. And the math behind this breakthrough is just stunning. By reducing the number of sequential operations to a constant, which we call O of 1, it takes the exact same number of steps regardless of how incredibly long the sequence is. This totally shatters the old O of N bottleneck of RNNs. It means you can massively parallelize the training, making it infinitely more scalable for capturing long-range context. Section 3. Inside the transformer architecture. Okay, let's look under the hood. Now, don't be intimidated by all the boxes. It's actually an incredibly elegant encoder-decoder structure. It breaks down pretty simply. The encoder takes in your input, like an English sentence, and the decoder uses that processed info to generate your output, like a French translation. It is a beautifully uniform design. The encoder is a stack of 6 identical layers, and the decoder is a matching stack of 6 identical layers. They use these things called residual connections around the sublayers to make sure data flows smoothly without getting lost. And they standardize the output dimensions to 512 across the board. It just continuously refines the input without ever needing a sequential loop. Section 4. Queries, keys, and values. At the absolute core of this network is the scaled dot product attention mechanism. And instead of just running this once, the architecture actually runs multiple of these attention mechanisms in parallel, which creates what the authors call multi-head attention. But how does it actually work? Think of it like searching a massive library. The AI uses a query, or Q, to represent exactly what it's looking for. The key, or K, is like the book's title or the index on the shelf. And the value, or V, is the actual content inside the book. The model instantly computes how well the queries match the keys, and once it finds a strong match, boom, it retrieves the weighted values. It's a lightning-fast, highly targeted retrieval system for contextual meaning. Now, there is a really crucial mathematical tweak in here, the scaling factor. They divide the dot products by the square root of the dimension. Why? Well, without this tiny adjustment, the network's calculations would grow wildly large, pushing the model into these flat zones where learning just stalls out and dies. The scaling factor keeps the math manageable, ensuring smooth, rapid training. And remember that multi-head attention? The model utilizes 8 parallel heads. Because human language is so incredibly messy and nuanced, using 8 independent heads lets the AI capture multiple contexts all at once. So while one head is figuring out the grammar, another is tracking who the subject is, and yet another might be analyzing the emotional tone. But wait, if the AI is processing everything at once, how does it know what order the words are in? The researchers used a brilliant trick called positional encodings. They use mathematical sine and cosine waves to literally inject a unique timestamp into every single word. This gives the model a perfect map of the word order before it even hits the self-attention layers, letting it translate flawlessly without ever actually reading sequentially. Section 5. Record-breaking results. So does it work? The researchers tested this out on a standard English to German translation task, measuring it with an industry metric called the Blue score. And the results were just staggering. The Transformer Big model absolutely shattered previous records with a score of 28.4. It beat the absolute best ensemble models, which are huge systems combining multiple architectures, by over 2 full points. But what's even crazier is the efficiency. When you look at the training cost measured in flops, the Transformer achieves that superior translation quality using a microscopic fraction of the computing power required by previous giants like GNMT. It isn't just a smarter model, it is astronomically more efficient. Because of this hyper-parallelized design, this state-of-the-art model was trained in just 3.5 days on a single machine with 8 GPUs. To put that into perspective, older models used to take weeks or required massive, insanely expensive hardware clusters just to get close. This was a total paradigm shift in training speed. Section 6. A less sequential future. The authors made it very clear in their conclusion that breaking free from step-by-step processing was just the beginning. They literally wrote, "Making generation less sequential is another research goals of ours." They knew exactly what kind of earthquake they had just set off in the AI world. This architecture blew the doors wide open for entirely different types of data. By killing the sequential bottleneck, researchers realized they could use self-attention to process massive data sets of images, audio, and video all at once. The Transformer was perfectly positioned to become the universal engine for complex pattern recognition across every type of data imaginable. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this. If attention is truly all you need, what human-like capabilities is this hyper-parallelized future going to unlock next? This fundamental shift from recurrence to self-attention didn't just fix machine translation, it laid the direct mathematical groundwork for the incredible AI revolution we're living through right now. Thanks for joining me to unpack the secrets of the Transformer. Keep learning, and I'll see you in the next one.